Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is Brian. Together, we just got played. We are at the Brass Tap in Orlando, Florida. That's right, we're spreading out. We're doing some different stuff. Normally, we're at the Cloak and Blaster, but we're at the Brass Tap tonight. And we just got done playing Arcane Arts. Join Brian and myself for Arcane Arts. Brian?
Yes.
Tell us about Arcane Arts.
Sure. Arcane Arts is a two-player deck construction game in which each of the players, fantasy-based, are assuming the role of a battle wizard, and they're going to be attacking each other to basically kill the other wizard. And in order to do this, they're going to be attacking them with their physical sword ability, or they're going to be casting a certain number of spells in order to reduce their life total down to 0. Basically, the game it's a constructed deck in which you're going to, from a pool of cards, you're going to assemble what your spell book is, and then you're going to use that to destroy your opponent. The other way you can play is you can buy pre-constructed decks, which have already been assembled for you. The game takes about 15 to 30 minutes to play, depending on if you've read the rules before you actually show up to play, Patrick. Basically, your spell book consists of a number of different types of spells, some of which are relics, which are actually more like items that they're going to add to your attack value when you attack, plus they do other kinds of things. There's instant spells, which can respond to your opponent's spells. There's incantations, which act like a massive attack spell. There are other somatic types of spells and cantrips. The cantrips generally have a very low cost, sometimes even 0. And let's see, there's like curses and enchantments and stuff as well. You can cast these onto your opponents, and then those will buff or debuff certain effects, whether they're healing spells or damage spells or anything like that. Basically, the way that the resource is work in this game is it's based on your magical runes. You start off in the game with 8 runes, and if you have a pre-constructed deck, those are already going to be determined for you. But whenever you cast a spell, it's going to have a certain casting cost that's going to require you to exhaust a number of your runes. One of the interesting things is that you can also use your opponent's runes that are out there. Let's see. And
if I don't use all my ruins, you actually used my unused magical powers against me.
Right, but during the beginning of each player's turn, they get an untap phase kind of deal where they're going to actually be able to untap a certain number of their runes. So eventually they could be exhausted if your opponent's using them against you as well.
And the Gatorade Wizard gets untap more than the fire.
Yes, the Hydromancer, which was the master of Gatorade.
So Master Gatorade.
Crave electrolytes. So with that, it's basically just the first wizard to destroy the other one, and they all have, I guess, different amounts of health total. Mine had 24 points, life points to begin with, and I think the Pyromancer also had 24 health points. But with that, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about the Arcane Arts?
Well, there's quite a bit to like about the Arcane Arts, but I think the one that I like the most is the fact that it really is a very fast head-to-head game where it doesn't take a lot to learn how to play, especially if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering. If you know how Magic the Gathering works, you pretty much know how this game works, and it really is a concentrated version of that without extra creatures coming out, and it's just a lot of direct damage and rule breakers that go back and forth. So if there's one thing I like, if you want like a fast, quick, confrontational game between two people, this is your game, I think. And if there's one thing that you like, Brian, feel free.
My favorite thing about the Arcane Arts is the way that the resources actually work. If you're familiar with Magic, you'll know that you get mana screwed quite often. But in this game, with the runes that come out, you start off with your 8 runes, plus you get to use your opponents as well. So I kind of like, not having to worry about that aspect of the resource management or someone destroying those runes as you trickle them out or something like that.
That's an interesting mechanism.
So, but what would you say is the thing that you liked least about the Arcane Arts?
I'm going to have to say, and this is just a prototype version that we've got, so I don't know exactly what's going to come about of the rest of the art yet, but They need to polish up the art from the version that we've got. And I know it's already on Kickstarter, but and I'm sure they're going to release some art during the course of the Kickstarter, at least I would. But they really need to spend a little bit more money on the actual artwork of Arcane Arts. And if there's one thing that you like the least,
the thing that I like the least about Arcane Arts is some of the terminology in the words. I understand that they're all related to the different types of spells and everything, but sometimes it's hard when you're old like me and in the low light conditions trying to read the cards, seeing the difference between the word like invocation and incantation and and just the font, some of the font choice or the size of the font, it was a little bit hard to read. But Arcane Arts is on Kickstarter right now, so teleport your ass over there and pick up a copy or two.
thank you for watching. I'm Patrick. This is Brian. Together, we are Just Got Played. We're at where the hell are we at?
The Brass.
The Brass Tap. We're at Brass Tap in Orlando, Florida. Join us. By the way, we're going to go around the United States and start filming all over the U.S., but this is our first stop, is the Brass Tap in Orlando, Florida. Get your ass over there and
Teleport your ass.
teleport your ass.
Yeah.
Your Arcane
To the
ass.
brass. Yeah.
Your ass to the Brass Tap. That's where you're going. That was ass to brass.
I've had too much to drink.
I don't think it was the alcohol.
It wasn't.